This is my brand new 2023 Hyundai Santa Cruz SEL Premium with the 2.5 liter turbocharged engine, 281 horsepower, finished in a beautiful sage gray paint, lifted 31-inch tires. It's a beautiful truck, but there are a few things I do not like about the Santa Cruz, and I'm about to share those with you right now in this video. 1 second is not a lot of time, but let me describe a scenario for you. You're leaving your neighborhood, pulling onto a busy street, and all the cars seem to be spaced just perfectly where there's really not a lot of room for you to pull into traffic. Now, at some point, you're gonna have to go for it or you'll be sitting there all day long. And that's where the issue comes in with the Santa Cruz. You push the gas and it takes a full second for the car to respond. Let's say you're super patient and don't mind waiting for a gap big enough to account for that full extra second it takes to get up and moving. But what happens when some smartass in a Bronco Sport pulls up next to you at a stoplight? 1, go. Now, of course, on paper, the Santa Cruz is faster than a Bronco Sport, but it just doesn't feel as fast. It isn't as responsive, and that's what I don't like. Now, this next thing is definitely some sort of a design flaw, and I don't know why, but the doors just don't close easily. I honestly couldn't tell you how many times I've come out to my car and discovered that the door was not closed all the way, because I just push it and walk away, assuming that it'll close, and it doesn't. So it's just me, right? Well, let's try a couple different cars here. The Bronco Sport, you can see effortless, effortless, effortless. Let's try a full-size F-150, even more effortless. Look at this. Barely just let go of it. Bam, closed, perfect. Every single time, no effort. And let's try an old Honda. This is a 1996 Honda Civic with mismatched doors, and it closes flawlessly. Now, this next thing I gotta say is more of a missed opportunity. We're looking at the side of the front center console here, and there is no pocket. There could have been. I mean, how hard could that be? But by far, my biggest gripe about the lack of storage on the inside of the Santa Cruz is there's no sunglasses holder. And if you see right here, you've got a spot for your phone, there's a spot for some change, maybe your whatever you carry, but not a good place anywhere in the interior for a pair of sunglasses. So this is where my sunglasses end up. I will give Hyundai some credit for rear underseat storage, but unfortunately the jack takes up most of the storage space. And there's just a tiny little bit of room on the other side to put stuff. I just think they could have done a better job with packaging. Here is yet another missed opportunity. No rear armrest. Even the Limited doesn't have an option for a rear armrest. It could have. How hard could that be? Folds down, have some cup holders. No rear USB ports or climate vents in a $40,000 vehicle. Let that sink in. You also don't get a charging port of any kind in the center console. Now, at least there's these two up front, and it does have wireless charging, but it doesn't have a USB-C port either. I know that's not a big deal right now, but in a couple of years, it's gonna be a big problem when all your chargers are USB-C. The Santa Cruz has a lot of different chimes. I think I've counted up to 7 different chimes so far, and they're kind of annoying. Take a listen and let me know what you think. Now, my Santa Cruz came optioned with both the sunroof and the upper crossbars, but I gotta tell you, you really have to choose between one or the other because the wind noise is really something. Take a listen to this. I think a lot of people will agree with me in that it's frustrating to not just have a knob to turn the radio down. It's so intuitive, it's instinctive. You reach over, turn it down. It's quick, it's fast, it's simple. I don't want to have to touch a button 20 times, much less search for the button while I'm trying to do something else. Now, comment down below if you prefer a button to turn down the stereo versus a knob. course, I'm going to get my Santa Cruz with the 281 horsepower turbocharged engine, but that also means you have to get the DCT transmission, which historically has not been very good. A lot of recalls, a lot of transmission failures. When you leave a stoplight or come off from a stop, it's shaky, the car shudders, it's just not smooth at all. And I don't understand, for a car like the Santa Cruz, what is actually the benefit of having a DCT over an automatic? I mean, I can see it in a sports car, yeah, but you know, this is not really meant for that. It doesn't make sense to me. This last thing is by far the most disappointing thing for me personally. I really had high hopes that the Santa Cruz would be better than it is off-road, but it just isn't cut out for it. Now remember, Hyundai marketed the Santa Cruz as a sport activity vehicle, which, you know, implies that you're gonna go camping with it or mountain biking or whatever you do outdoors, which sometimes requires going off-road or at least off the beaten path. In one of my previous videos, we actually tested the Santa Cruz up against a Bronco Sport, and it was no contest. But it wasn't a lack of power or torque that caused the Santa Cruz to not make it up some of these trails. It was really just the lack of a better rear differential and mainly the software. The software kept taking throttle away and it kept putting the car in neutral. The hill descent control didn't really work. It actually led to some dangerous situations. The point is, the Santa Cruz does have the basics. It has the fundamentals. It just needs some tweaks. It needs a few little add-ons, which I think leaves the door wide open for Hyundai to add an off-road variant of the Santa Cruz. You know, Honda just recently did that with their Pilot. They added the Trail Sport trim that has a whole lot of off-road stuff, and I think Hyundai could do the same thing with the Santa Cruz. All in all, it's a great vehicle. I really actually do like it, and there's going to be a follow-up to this video with 10 things I love about the Santa Cruz.